בעזרת השם נעשה ונצליח, והשם עלינו ברחמיו ירוויח. The subject of the shiur, סעודות Shabbat, that's meal, the meal of Shabbat. We're going to go to the source. The source comes in Sefer Shmot, Parashat Beshalach, chapter 16, verse 25. The Torah tells us something very interesting. Let's see what the Torah tells us. ויאמר משה, יכלו היום, כי שבת היום לאדוני, היום לא תמצאו בשדה.
Can't be Beshalach 25. It's wrong yet.
Shalach 16, 25. 16:25. Chapter 16, verse 25.
That's better.
Is that better? Okay.
Moshe said, eat it today, for today is a Sabbath. For Hashem, today you shall not find it in the field.
Okay. So, what are we talking here about? First, let me explain the verse. Here we're speaking regarding the manna. What's happened? When Bnei Israel was in the wilderness, HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought the manna up from heaven. And every day, they used to collect the manna. On a Friday, they used to collect enough for Friday and for Saturday. Because the manna never used to come down from heaven on Shabbat. So that's what this pasuk referring to the manna that Bnei Israel used to get in the wilderness. But Hazal say, okay, you've given me a pasuk that's speaking about the manna, I understand. But where do you learn regarding Sodot Shabbat? I understand that the manna never fall on Shabbat. So to understand that, we have to go to Gemara Masechet Shabbat. Gemara in Masechet Shabbat, in page 117, folio 2, the Gemara says something very interesting. The Gemara asks, Tanu Rabbanan, Kama Saudot Hayav Adam Le'echol B'Shabbat? The Gemara ask a question, how many meals a person obligated to eat on Shabbat? Okay? The Gemara answer, 3 meals. So from here we learn that we obligated to eat 3 meals on Shabbat. But still, where do you learn that you have to eat 3 meals on Shabbat? You understand the question, Rabotai. So the answer to it, the Gemara continue and say, like this. Rabbi Hitka savar haneh, tlalta hayom. I will explain. That's in Arabic. So Rabbi Hitka say, from that he say, the word hayom 3 times in the verse. Remember, it's mentioned today 3 times. Nachon, Menachem? If you read it again, read it loudly.
Moshe said, eat it today, for today is a Shabbat for Hashem. Today you shall not find it in the field. So
3 times it's mentioned the word today. So Rabbi Hitka say, because it's mentioned the word talta hayom, talta it's 3, the word hayom mentioned 3 times, that is the source. Rashi HaKadosh come and explain like this. Rashi HaKadosh say that you know where Hazal learned that? Rabbi Hitka, where does he learn that? He said from that it's mentioned in that verse, that speaking about the manna doesn't fall on Shabbat, it's mentioned the word day 3 times. We're learning that we obligated to eat on Shabbat 3 meals. And what are they? Now we're going to go, what is those meals? And the timing, that's very important. So we'll go one by one. So the first meal, Seudah Rishonah, what we call it, that's on Friday night, after we finish to daven Arvit of Shabbat. When we go home, we eat the first meal. That's Seudah Rishonah. The second Seudah come on Shabbos morning. After we finish to daven, we eat Seudah Shniya. That's the second meal. Seudah Shlishit, it's after Mincha. That means, some say at least, obviously it has to be after Hatzot, because Mincha we can't daven before Hatzot. But the right time is that it's if you do Mincha Ktana. The posking explain. It's the best time that straight after Mincha you do Seudah Shlishit, and that's the right time. By the way, that's Sauda called Re'ava de Ra'avim. What it means, Re'ava de Ra'avim? That's in Aramaic. Re'ava de Ra'avim mean Retzon HaRetzonot. The wish of the wishes. That's why it's so special, the Sauda Shlishit, that time. It's a very highly, highly holy time. Re'ava de Ra'avim. That's Sauda Shlishit. Any questions so far, before I continue?
Yeah, but it still doesn't explain to me why we must eat it at that stage.
Okay. Why you must eat it?
At that specific time.
Okay. So, when do you eat on Friday night?
No, not.
Are you talking about Sauda Shlishit?
Yeah.
So say Sauda Shlishit. Because you eat in the morning. When usually you eat the second Sauda? After midday. Nachon? So when is after midday? After Minha, nachon? Because after Hatzot you can daven Minha. Before Hatzot you can't daven Minha, nachon? So when usually people eat? When usually people eat? They eat around 12 o'clock. What, do you expect them immediately by 12:30 to have another meal? They can't. So because that, we postponed it a bit late, so people will be able for the food to digest, and then they can eat the third Sauda, that's called Sauda Shlishit. You follow? Now, let's see, now that we explained the time, let's see something very important, what the Rambam said. I'm going to bring the opinion of the Rambam, and we'll continue, and from now we're going to start a different thing about the Saudot. The Rambam said, by the way, the Rambam said that Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon, okay, the Maimonite, he born in Spain 881 years ago, okay, and he said like this, in Ilchot Shabbat, halakha tet, that means law number 9, and he paskenet להלכה. חייב לאכול אדם 3 סעודות בשבת עם פת לחם. What does it mean? A person must eat 3 meals on Shabbat, but he must eat them with what? With bread. We're going to speak about the quantity. I'll get to it just now. Okay, so that's the Rambam. Came other poskim, the Samag, Sefer Mitzvot Gadol, that's Rabbi Moshe Mikotzi. Rabbi Moshe Mikotzi, born in the north of France. He lived, let's put it this way, in the 13th century. With him come the Tosfot. We explained previous weeks who was the Tosfot. The Tosfot was 40 rabbis that wrote the commentary. Some of them came from Ashkenaz, some of them came from France. And they together was a group that called the Tosfot. After that come the Rosh, Rabbeinu Asher, okay, and the Ritva, and many more of our sages, and they all pasken. Hayav Adam le'echol 3 seudot b'Shabbat im pat lechem. That means that we see from him the Ahronim, the Rishonim, all pasken, and with them many of the Ahronim, and now I'm going to get to the Ahronim. There's a difference between the Rishonim and the Ahronim. The Rishonim, it's like in the 13th century, 800 years ago, 900 years ago. Ahronim, that live in the 16th century, that's around 500 years ago, 400 years ago. That's the difference. And they paskin for. So from here we see that all the Rishonim say that all the 3 meals, Rabotai, that we eat on Shabbat, we must eat with bread. We have to eat bread with them. Any question? Yes, Brian.
So back a little bit, you said we must eat after Chatzot. Is Chatzot midday? Is that?
Not necessarily the midday that we need. It all depends on winter and summer. How do you work it out? Because you work it out according to when is the sunrise and when the sunset. You understand what I'm saying? Because usually, in winter, Hatzot is earlier. Nachon? Because the sunrise much later. You agree with me? And it goes
down earlier.
In summer, it's much earlier. You understand? And it goes much later. You agree with me? So now, yes.
Why is it called, you said in pat lechem. Why is it called pat lechem? Pat is bread, lechem is bread.
Pat is no.
There's a mount, not lechem.
Lechem, lechem,
Lechem.
Ichluna pat lechem. You remember when Abraham offered to
Slice.
the angels, you remember?
Yes.
What did he offer them? Rechzu yadechem, wash your hand, wash your feet, have a little bit of bread, a little bit of water. You remember he offered them that. And then he shecht for them and he gave them a big meal. But pat, it's the new version of the Hebrew.
A new version of what?
Yeah, that's the new Hebrew, the modern Hebrew.
Like sliced bread.
You understand?
It's still bread.
But let's continue. Let's understand now who's obligated to eat on Shabbat those meals. Who's the obligated? So, like this. No difference between a male and a female. A male and a female obligated to eat the 3 meals with the bread. Why? Because when the manna used to fall down in the wilderness, they didn't fall only for the male or only for the female. It fell for everyone. So everyone obligated to eat the 3 meals of Shabbat with bread. The quantity. Lehatchila, a person should eat little bit more than 54 grams. That means more than kabeitza. 54 grams, it's more than a beitza. Kabeitza, it means the size of an egg, the quantity of the egg. So it tells us, why do you eat more than kabeitza? Why dafka kabeitza? Because they say, Hazal tell us something very interesting. When you eat 54 grams, that means that you show that your meal is not a temporary meal. It's a permanent meal. That means a temporary meal, you eat a cookie. You know what I'm saying? But when it's come to eat a proper meal, you eat more than 54 grams. You follow? So from here we learn that men and women obligated to eat because there was both in the wilderness and they both benefit from the miracle of the manna. The quantity is kabeitza. Let's continue. Now we're going to speak about how many loaf of bread, when I say bread, it can be a challah, a kitka, should be on the table. How many loaves should be in every meal? So now we're going to go to Sefer Shmot again, Parashat Beshalach, chapter 16. But now Menachem going to read for us verse 22, you're going to read after me. And it said there, Ubayom HaShishi, Liktu Lechem Mishneh.
It happened on the 6th day that they gathered a double portion of food, 2 omers for each, and all the princes of the assembly came and told Moshe.
So from here Hazal learn, because it say Laktu Lechem Mishneh, Bayom HaShishi, that means on a Friday they collect double the quantity that they should have. So from here Hazal say, okay, that we obligated to have 2 halot on every meal on the table. Minimum, yeah, obviously.
The minimum.
Yeah. The Kabbalistic rabbi, the more spiritual rabbi, they take 12 rolls. They put on the table 12 rolls, and that's how they do their motzi. That's not for us, it's a different level. Why is that? Why dafka we have to have 2? Because when Bnei Israel was in a wilderness, when they have to collect the manna, every day they used to collect 1 portion. But when it came to Shabbos, they couldn't collect on Shabbos, so on Friday they collect double. So Hazal come and tell us, you also have 2 halot on your table. Not only that, in the Mechilta. The Mechilta, it's a midrash halacha on Sefer Shmot. What does that mean? That it's a midrash of halachot. Halachot is a law, Torah law, on a book of Shmot. And there they explain that the same law that we have on Shabbat, that we obligate to have 2 loaves of bread on the table, applicable for the festival. Why? Because on the festival, the manna never used to come down from the heaven. So Erev Yom Tov, they used to collect again, double the amount. Therefore, on Shabbos and Yom Tov, we obligated to have a Lechem Mishneh. Lechem Mishneh is a double on our table. Any questions so far? No. Now we're going to move on and we're going to speak about Seudah Shlishit. The Maran Shulchan Aruch, Rabbi Yosef Karo, that born in the city of Toledo in Spain. Okay? He explained like this in the Shulchan Aruch in Siman Resh Tzadik Aleph, that means 291, Se'if Hey, it means verse 5. Listen what he said. סעודה שלישית צריך לעשותה בפת. The Shulchan Aruch say, סעודה שלישית, the third meal, we obligated to do it with bread. Then he bring another opinion. You will see that he's going to bring 4 opinions. Then he say, ויש אומרים, there is other opinion, שיכול לעשותה בכל מאכל העשוי מאחד מחמשת מיני דגן. That means if a person can't eat bread, he can do סעודה שלישית with one of the 5 ingredients that you make flour. That means מזונות. Remember, second opinion. Then he bring another opinion. ויש אומרים, he bring another opinion, שיכול לעשותה מדברים שמלפתים בהם את הפת, כגון בשר ודגים. That means if he can't eat mezonot, there's another leniency opinion that say that you can eat meat or fish. You can do סעודה שלישית. You don't have to eat no bread and no mezonot. Do it on meat and fish. So, 3 opinions. Then he continues and says, ויש אומרים, אפילו בפירות יכול לעשותה. If a person really can't eat no bread, can't do amotzi, can't do mezonot, can't do meat and fish, he can do it on a fruit. But lehatchila, we see, what do we see from here? That lehatchila, a person should do sa'udah shlishit with bread. Also, women obligated to do it. Many women think that they're not obligated to do it. But you have to tell them that women obligated to do sa'udah shlishit because they was part of that miracle that happened to our forefathers and our fathers in the wilderness. You understand what I'm saying? So, lehatchila, we see that the person should do it with bread, but if he eaten too much, if he's too full, and if you force them to eat that kind of food, it's going to be too much, and it's not going to be a pleasure, then he can do it with one of the other 3 things that we mentioned, not just repeat it, that if he can't do it on bread, mezonot. Not mezonot, meat or fish. If he can't do it on meat or fish, he can do it on fruit. Any question? No. So before we finished, we learned that Seudah Shlishit, it's different to all the other meals. What did we learn? We learned from it that the first 2 Seudot, Seudah Rishonah, that's Friday night, and Seudah Shniyah, that's Shabbos morning, okay? We obligated to eat bread. There's no question about it. That there is no leniency. Where is the leniency come? On Seudah Shlishit. You follow? Let's continue. Now, we're going to speak about the merit that you eat 3 meals on Shabbat. So let's see what the Gemara tells us. The Gemara Masechet Shabbat, Kuf Yudhet Amud Aleph. That means 118, folio 1. Amar Rabbi Yoshua ben Levy, Mishum Bar Kapara. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levy say, in the name of Bar Kapara, Bar in Aramaic is a son, Kapara that's his name, and the son of Kapara. Rabbi Yeshua saying his name, like this. Kol המקיים 3 סעודות בשבת. Every person that eat 3 meals on Shabbat, ניצול מ3 פורעניות. That means that he been saved from 3 different ordeals. What is those ordeals? Let's go and see. So he said like this. מחבלו של משיח. חבלו של משיח is the pain birth of the Mashiach. I will explain just now. מדינה של גיהנום. What it means, Dina shel Gehenom? That means from the judgment of Gehenna, the judgment of hell. And the third one is from the war of ממלחמת גוג ומגוג, that's the war of Armageddon. Let's explain. חבלו של Mashiach. What is the pain burst of Mashiach? Before the Mashiach come, Hazal explained that you'll see that there is in the war going to be a lot of havoc. And we see it now, especially now. North Korea waking up, Trump getting excited. You know what I'm saying? Syria is finished. You know what I'm saying? There is, if it's not the Hezbollah, if it's not the Hamas, it's the ISIS, all different names, all over the world. That's considered the pain burst of Mashiach. All the trouble that's going to happen during that time, a person that eats Saudot Shabbat, he have a guarantee. The second one we say, Midina shel Gehenam. A person that eats on Shabbat can be saved from the judgment of Gehenna. What is it exactly? We don't know. That's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's the judge. And the third one is the war of Armageddon. What is the war of Armageddon? Gog uMagog. We explained that. We done a show about it. If you take the gematria of Gog uMagog, it will bring you 70. 70. And I brought the Malbin on the prophet Yehezkel that explain that in a time before the Mashiach comes, 70 nations going to come to conquer Jerusalem. They're going to come to Eretz Israel, and they wanted to conquer Jerusalem, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu will stop them where? In Har HaZetim, the Malbin say, on his commentary on the prophet Yehezkel. And he said there that when they're going to be in Har HaZetim, he's going to put a dispute between Ishmael and Esav, and they're going to start fighting between themselves. And we'll bless them, that they both will have a lot of brocha and atzlacha, as long as they leave us alone. So we say that there is 3 meals. The first Sa'udah, that means Friday night, a person that eat the Friday night meal, okay, been saved from the birth pain of the Mashiach. The second Sa'udah, that Shabbat morning, straight after we finish to eat, after to daven Shachrit and Musaf, okay, we're having the second meal. That person that eat that meal been saved from the judgment of hell. And a person that eats Sa'udah Shlishit, okay, the third Sa'udah, been saved from the war of Armageddon, Gog and Magog. So from here we see, by that we're eating 3 meals, we saved from 3 different ordeals. Moti mentioned at the beginning of the shi'ur, Sa'udah Revi'it. What is Sa'udah Revi'it? That means the 4th Sa'udah. That's called Melaveh Malka. Where is it brought? Again, on the Gemara Masechet Shabbat, Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Bet, Rabbi Hitkiyah say, after the Gemara asks, Kama Sa'udot we obligate to eat on Shabbat, we say 3. Rabbi Hitkiyah say 4. One is that's Sa'udat Melaveh Malka. What is that? Letchiyat HaMetim. There is a bone in the back of our neck, very small bone, this size, called the luz, Eitzem HaLuz. That bone, you can't burn it, you can't break it. People try to break it with a vice, the vice got broke. They tried to break it with the hammer got broke. They put it in a fire, nothing. Hazal say, especially the Kabbalistic rabbis say, that in a time that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will do the resurrection of the dead, Tchiyat HaMetim, from that bone, everything going to start. So a person that eats Sa'udah Revi'it, after Havdalah, Sa'udah Revi'it is after Havdalah, much later, on bread, if he can, also he have a guarantee for the resurrection of the dead. So now that we hear all about the Shabbos meal. We hear the source, where does it come? From our Holy Torah. How Hazal look at it. We see who's obligated, the quantity. We learn the merit that we can get. And Be'ezrat Hashem, I would like to bless all of us and all Am Israel that eat the 3 meals or the 4 meals, that they should all going to be safe from all the ordeal that there is in the world, especially from those ordeal that the Gemara speak. And we all will merit to see Mashiach Tzidkenu b'mera b'yamenu, amen, ken yeh ratzon.